Hi everyone, I'm Riley from Echidna Sewing. Welcome back, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make this cute little embroidered tote bag. These tote bags are the perfect small size to use every day to carry your lunch, small books, or even as a small gym bag. You can also add embroidery for a touch of personalization. They are super easy to create, make great gifts, and this project is suitable for kids as well. We recommend making this bag out of a medium weight cotton or drill or a lightweight denim. If you are wanting to use a lightweight fabric, you can iron on a piece of lightweight interfacing to give your fabric a bit more structure. And for sewists wanting a bit more of a challenge, you can try making it from corduroy, brocade, or a sequin fabric. Now, I will be embroidering this design here on the bag today, which you can find for free on our website. We do also have a pack of 10 designs available for purchase, which includes this design that I've done here. The machine I'll be using in this video is the NV180, which does both embroidery and sewing, so it's ideal for this project. Finally, here is everything else that you'll need for this project, but you can check out the full list down below. Now let's get into it. The first thing you'll need to do is cut out all of your pieces, but firstly make sure your fabric is already ironed flat, which you can see I've done. Now I'm going to cut out the accent piece first, so this bottom piece here. It's going to be 15 inches wide and 10 inches tall. Now if you have a directional piece, make sure it is in the correct orientation. However, I wouldn't recommend using a directional fabric as it will be upside down on one side due to the bottom being one whole piece. So you can go ahead and cut that piece out. Now, if you're doing embroidery, you'll need to cut out the main body piece to suit your hoop size. Now, I'm using the 4x4 hoop, so I won't need to change my size, but if you are using a bigger hoop, you'll need to cut a bigger piece and then trim it down to these following sizes after you've embroidered. So you'll need two 15-inch wide and 8-inch tall pieces for your main body. Then you'll need to cut two 21-inch by 3-inch pieces for your straps. I'm going to do this out of my accent fabric, like I've done for this tote bag, but you can do it out of the main body fabric if you prefer. And finally, you'll need one 15-inch wide by 25.5-inch tall piece for your lining. And I'm going to do that out of my main body fabric. I'm going to be embroidering my main piece. If you aren't doing embroidery, you can skip ahead to the next chapter, but before I hoop up my fabric, I'm just going to mark the center point for my embroidery. You can do this by folding your fabric in half twice, making a crease along the fold line, and then marking a vertical and a horizontal cross at that center point. Try and keep this cross as centered as possible when you hoop up your fabric, and you can use the marks on the hoop as a guide when you're doing this. I'm going to hoop up my fabric with a piece of fusible tearaway stabilizer, so I'm just going to do that real quick. Now that I've ironed on my stabilizer, I'm going to go ahead and hoop up my piece of fabric. So I'm just looking at these notches on the inside of the top hoop and aligning my vertical points with those, and then aligning my horizontal with the edge notches. And once I'm happy with that, I'm going to pick it up as one and place it into my hoop, trying to keep it in the exact same spot. And I'm pretty happy with that. And then I'm going to tighten that up once you're happy with that. And once you're all hooped, you can start embroidering. Once stitched out, you can remove your fabric and trim it down to the required size if necessary, making sure that you are aware of the placement of your design, and press it with your iron, which I've already done. Now place one of your main body pieces face up. I'm going to use my embroidered one, and align your accent piece right sides together along the bottom edge. Like so, and pin or clip that to secure it. And then you want to stitch together that bottom edge with a 1/4 inch seam allowance and a straight stitch, and then you'll want to press the seams open after that. Grab your other main body piece and align it on the other end of the accent piece. Just down on the bottom, and pin or clip that one to secure. And then you can stitch together that long edge with a 1/4 inch seam allowance and a straight stitch. And then you'll need to press that seam open as well. Then you want to fold your piece in half widthways, aligning the top edge, and then pin or clip the two side edges to secure them. And then stitch those two sides together with a 1/4 inch seam allowance and a straight stitch. Now we're going to box the bottom corners to make our bag have a flat bottom. So grab one corner and you're going to separate the front and the back fabric to make a triangle with the side seam running directly down the middle of the triangle. I'm going to pin that in place momentarily. Doesn't matter where you pin it. Then with your ruler and a friction pen or chalk if you've got darker fabric, you're going to mark a 3-inch point on either side of that triangle. Oops. So starting at the very tip, mark a 3-inch point on both sides. And then I'm going to connect that line with my ruler. Pins are in an appropriate spot. And then I just want to do that on the other side as well. My pins are in the way here, so I'm just going to move them while I draw the line. All right, then you're going to sew down that line with a straight stitch, making sure that you do lock off your stitch at each end. And before we sew, I just want to make sure that this seam is open before you stitch over the top. So I'm going to pin that seam in place. If you wanted to, you could give it a quick press with your iron. Then you can trim off that excess fabric. Make sure you don't cut all the way down to your stitch line though. I'm leaving about 1/4 inch of fabric. All right, you can set that aside for now and grab your lining piece, and you want to fold it in half lengthways and align the top and side edges together. Like so, and then you're just going to pin or clip these side seams to secure them. Once you've secured those sides together, grab your ruler, and because I've got dark fabric, I'm going to use chalk instead of my friction pen. And along one of these sides, you're just going to mark a 3-inch gap. And we're going to leave that gap open when we sew these side seams together so we can turn our bag right side out at the end. So just mark that. Doesn't have to be exact. Like so. And now you can sew together the side seams with a 1/4 inch seam allowance and a straight stitch. Now you need to box the bottom corners of your lining just like we did before for the main body. Alright, and then you can stitch and trim off the excess fabric like we did before. Once you've boxed your lining corners, you can then set that aside as well, and we're going to work on our straps. So we're going to fold one in half like so, and pin or clip that edge to secure it. Right, and I'm just going to do that to the other one while I'm here. And once you've secured those together, go ahead and stitch both of those together with a 1/4 inch seam allowance and a straight stitch. Once you've stitched both your straps together, I'm going to use a loop turner to turn them right side out. Super easy to use. All you need to do is just pop it in one end, push it all the way through to the other end, making sure you hold on to that end. And then you're just going to loop it over the edge of your fabric and pull, and then work your fabric just over like that. Then you should be able to start pulling this end through like that, and then just guide your fabric up and over. Mine's being a bit more difficult because I've got a bit of a thicker fabric. Just like so. And then you can iron that flat. But I'm just going to do my other one first. The heavier your fabric is, the more difficult it will be to pull it through with the loop turner, but you will get there, just be patient. Once you've turned both of those through, you can iron them flat. Make sure that you do keep the seam to one side and don't iron it with the seam in the middle like that. Once they're nice and flat and ironed, we want to go ahead and top stitch each long side of the strap with a 3mm straight stitch, and I'm going to stitch as close as possible to each edge. Now that all of our pieces are assembled, it's time to put them all together. So grab your straps and your main body with the embroidery and the accent on it and flip this right side out. So, and then with your ruler and your chalk, you want to mark a point 4 inches in from each side seam on both sides. So 4 inches in, and 4 inches in. Do that on both sides. And this is going to be the center point for where you want to align your straps. So I'm going to grab one of my straps and I'm going to align roughly the middle of my strap with that chalk mark. And I'm going to align the raw edge of my strap with the raw edge of my bag. I don't want to align them this way. So once that is in place, I'm just going to pin it to secure it. And then I'm going to do the same for my other end, but I want to make sure that I have this nice continuous loop of my straps. If I have it this way, it's going to end up twisted when you go to hold the bag. So make sure it's just like that. And make sure you're only pinning through the one layer of your main body fabric and not both. All right, and I'm going to do that on the other side as well. And then make sure your lining is wrong side out, and you're going to place your main body inside so that the right sides will be together. And I'm going to align all of my side seams together. So where's my side seam? There it is. Align that side seam with the lining side seam. And I'm going to clip those together to secure them. And then I want to go ahead and clip or pin the rest of the top to secure it all together. And when I get to the straps, I'm actually just going to put another pin to secure the 3 layers together and then remove that original pin from there. Then once that's all clipped together, we are then going to stitch the top shut, making sure that your handles are enclosed. You shouldn't be able to see your handles at all and not sticking out. All right. You're going to then stitch that with a 1/4 inch seam allowance and a straight stitch. Once you've stitched that closed, we can turn the bag right side out through the gap that we left earlier in our lining. Now, because it is a small hole, it will take some time to get everything through, so just work it through gradually. And once you see your handles, you should be able to pull that one out and use that to pull the rest of it out. Once you've turned your bag right side out, we can tuck in that side turning hole. And then we just want to stitch it shut with a straight stitch and as close to that edge as possible. If you wanted to use a similar color to the lining as your stitch, so it kind of like blends together, you can, but as it is the lining, I didn't mind it being a different color. After you've stitched that turning hole shut, give all of your seams a good press with your iron, and then after that, you can tuck your lining into your main bag. And the final step after you've tucked your lining into your bag is to just give this top seam a good press with your iron. And then you're done. That's how easy it is to make this flat bottom tote bag. Now, if you're interested in any of the products that we used in this video, feel free to check out our website for more information. And don't forget to tag us on Instagram so we can see your creations too. Thanks for watching and happy sewing.